From a sharecropper's son to an esteemed baseball coach for Southern University, a road that was potholed with poverty, racism, and pain. These obstacles should have kept him from the top of his game. Instead, he fought back with everything he had and won. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope against all odds chronicles the life of legendary head coach Roger Cador, the 14-time SWAC champion with 11 NCAA regional appearances. He's a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame. He's a prestigious inductee into the Southern University Hall of Fame. And now, he's a distinguished member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Purchased today, Against All Odds. Against All Odds can be purchased on Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and Google Play.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient. They're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another exciting episode of Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I am Perry White, and the man to my left is the man, the myth, the legend, the Hall of Famer, Coach Roger Cador. What's going on, Coach?
Not too much. How you doing, Perry?
Doing good, man. Very special guest today on today's show. Look, it's been a while since we had an opportunity to talk to him, but we want to welcome here MLB former professional baseball player and manager, my man, your man for sure, Dusty Baker. Good morning, Dusty. Good afternoon, excuse me.
Yeah, well, hey, it's still morning here. It's 10 o'clock, so, yeah, I'm in California, so it's afternoon on you guys.
Man, how's everything been going over your way?
It's going pretty good, just staying busy. Even though I'm retired, I do some part-time stuff, consulting with the Giants, and I'm spending a lot more time seeing my grandsons that are 3 and 5, and once a month going to see my son Darren Baker play with the Nationals. He's in AAA, so I missed a lot of his life. While I was paying the bills, and so now it's my turn to go watch him.
I got to ask this question because now I'm looking at both you guys, former manager, coach. When retirement hit, Dusty, talk to me. Do you typically know time when the time is the time? So somebody have to come up to you and say, hey, I think it's time, or is it family? How does that retirement part of a career works when you're having the success that you had, the same as Coach Cador in life?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think it's all the above, what you just named. You're away from your family a lot. You're traveling a lot. You enjoy the game, and you enjoy once the game starts. That's some of the things that you get tired of a little bit is pre and post game, because now the manager has to do a whole bunch of talking, not only for the team, the organization, but also for himself. And so it happened to me where it's like, okay, it was getting a little tough on my health. There were some pretty big differences between the modern school and the old school, which I'd like to say there's only one school, the right school. But things are changing. But I had some heart problems. I had a mild stroke. I had cancer 20-something years ago, and then I had 3 ablations in the last 3 years in my heart, and I'm feeling good. Looking pretty good, I've been told. And, and so sometimes you say, okay, it's time for me to go. And, once you make up your mind, you leave. I still might still in the works, where I might do some work, with the WBC, which I talked to Roger about, but you can't, that's different, like you could take a month, you can take 2 weeks, but to take 8 months of the grueling schedule, on and off planes, in late, out early, that takes its toll at the end of the year. And I figure, hey, man, I've had enough warning, so now it's time to take care of myself.
Coach, I got to ask you the same thing. When retirement comes, when you're having success and you're rolling the way that you've been rolling, it's the way of life. It's a lifestyle. Then you look at it and say, okay, maybe it's time to call it quits and hang up the cleats.
In my case, I saw that playing for it at 5 years in advance, playing for retirement, because I saw the clock on the wall, and I was looking at it ticking, and I put that time, I'm probably going to walk away. It gave me my 40 years into the system, which is full retirement, health care, which is what Dusty, I tell you, when you look at you want to make sure you have your health care. You want to have your pension in. So that way you don't have to worry about getting less than what you're getting now. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what I was looking at, and got it done, and I've been okay with it.
Yes, sir. Dusty, I got to ask you this now. The first time you met Roger Cador, this guy from Louisiana with this accent, right? And you like, okay, where the hell are you from? Who are you? Take me back to that day Roger Cador made the impression to you and you guys met in life.
Well, Roger made a heck of an impression. Like I tell people, thing about it, he was skinny and I was skinny. And we both could run. And we had a common denominator, from Louisiana, Ralph Garr. He was my roommate, and so like Ralph kind of indoctrinated me to the Louisiana Southern accent. And so Roger was always like very attentive. He gave his full effort. We were packed with outfielders at that time. I mean, we had about 7 to 10 outfielders that are possibly, could have played in the big leagues. And, we had a number of black outfielders, which you don't see much today. And back in that time, they put us all in one position. Instead of putting us in center, right, and left, they usually just pile all of us to compete against each other, in center field. Am I telling the truth, Roger?
Oh, yes, you are. I mean, it's amazing how they used to stack it up, A lot of guys got angry, but you can't get angry at a system that is designed to do what it did. You know what I'm saying? Where else were you going to go play,
That's right.
So you fought and tried to fight your way through it.
And, Coach, I got to ask you, what kind of impression was it when you first met Dusty Baker, knowing, you guys were going in two separate directions in lives after playing professionally, but at the end of the day, making the impact on many lives that you guys did?
Well, Dusty had the smile on his face, and he was always accommodating. And the one thing I remember, Dusty made the big leagues, and what he did left an impression on me because he came back and talked to us. Gave us an idea what we're going to be looking at going forward. And that always made an impression. And I think one of the things, Dusty, maybe you can correct me on that, Bill Lucas, who was the vice president, GM at the time, probably say, hey, why don't you all go back and talk to the black young players? Tell them some things, you know what I'm saying? And Dusty was one of the first ones that I got to talk to, even though I got to talk to the Hammer, and Ralph, and Cito Gaston.
Yep. Well, see, those guys made an instant impression on me, especially Cito. He was, the older guy on my team. He took care of me, and I wasn't used to, the things in the South and the segregation, even though, we had, forms of racism in the West. It didn't matter where you were. It just that it you could kind of go where you wanted to go if you could afford it. And so Cito and Ralph both, helped me out a lot dealing with things because I was coming out of California during the late '60s, and that's when peace and love and the movement and riots and Vietnam and total nonconformity was going on, and they helped me to to survive. And because I was ready to fight on at the drop of a dime, but so now that I look back, man, it'd have been tough beating all them dudes over there. Beating my head in. And so Ralph used to tell me all the time, "Sit down, Baker, be quiet." And Cito, in his calming voice, the same way he managed. I mean, he would tell me, "Dusty, just be cool, man. Just I'll take care of you." And so, like, I had some great guys. And I have a picture of Mr. Lucas that I'm looking at right now on my wall because we were very fortunate to have the only black man in authority at that time, in Mr. Lucas. And Mr. Lucas was a former player. He was a former lieutenant in the Army, very intelligent man. He was also Hank Aaron's brother-in-law. Hank married his sister. And so, we were more like family than we were, employee to employer. And so, that helped us a lot, made us feel comfortable, and, which makes it easier to play ball.
In your career as a player, you played for the Braves, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the San Francisco Giants, Oakland A's. Then on the manager side, managing the San Francisco Giants, the Chicago Cubs, Cincinnati Reds, Washington Nationals, and more recently here, the Houston Astros. Getting into the coaching or manager side of things, coming out of being a player, being an African-American, the black man, what was that like for you to be able to now be in that leadership role?
Well, something, I was kind of chosen for that because, see, I never wanted to be a coach. And
is that how it typically goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. But back then, there weren't many jobs available to us in organizations after you got out of baseball. And if you stayed in baseball, you were either an outfield coach or a first base coach, and that was about it. But what had happened is I had gotten divorced. My wife from Louisiana, from Lake Charles, Louisiana. I was in the middle of a divorce. I had some financial problems when the government had disallowed a bunch of my investments. My brother was going through a period of manic depression, and so I was at an all-time low, in my life. My career had ended, and so I went with Frank Robinson, Hank Aaron, Ralph, Cito. We went to Dallas, Texas, and with a group of brothers that had gotten out of the game or had played formally to try to find some guys, some jobs in baseball which weren't available to us. And so I was there, and Al Rosen, who was in with the Astros, told Bob Kennedy, he says, "Hey man, this is after Al Campana said that we weren't qualified for the upper echelon jobs and thinking man's jobs." And so he came to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Rosen, I'd like to talk to you." And I said, "About what?" And I says, and I was trying to be a stockbroker at that time, and the stock market crashed in '87, so everything pointed towards trying to do something else. And so I said, "No, I don't want to coach." And so he said, "Just think about it." So I called my dad. I said, "Dad, what do you think, man?" He said, "Son," he said, "why don't you go to the mountaintop and pray on it and ask the Lord for an answer." And I had played 1 year with the Giants, and I had become friendly with the owner, Bob Lurie. And so I was checking in line at the hotel above L.A. up in the mountains, and I hadn't even said my prayers yet, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder, and it was Bob Lurie, the owner of the Giants. And he says, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "It's my first time here." He said, "Mine too." And so he says, "Hey, man, I didn't see him the rest of the time I was there. If I'd have showed up 5 minutes earlier or later, I wouldn't have seen him." So I went to the phone, and I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, is that a sign?" And he said, son, that's a sign that you don't want to see. He said, you better listen to what the Lord, I swear, he said, you better listen to what the Lord is trying to tell you. You went up there to ask for a sign, and so you go with the Giants, and it tapped you on the shoulder even before you open your mouth. And so I decided to go with the Giants. I wanted to move back to Northern Cal, and then I gave myself, well, he told me it would take 5 years to get the player out of me, and 5 years and 1 day after I became a coach, I was named the manager of the Giants.
Man, a great story. Let's do this. Let's take a break real quick for everybody out there watching. We got my man Dusty Baker here with Coach Cador and I. So let's take a break real quick. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. You guys stay tuned. More Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, all right?
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Brack, we're more than a playground.
Cats down by 58 with 1 minute left.
Hey, where's everybody going? This game's not over. So we're not the best. Our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball, and pretty sure our mascot has his costume on backwards. But this is our team. No matter what.
Some Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge. Some don't. The ones that do know BTR is all about being closer, more convenient, with non-stops and short hops to anywhere their business takes them. They also know not flying BTR means more traffic, longer lines, and wasted time. So if it's about going from driveway to runway with a lot less highway, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport. It's about time.
Get the memoir from the legendary baseball coach from Southern University, Roger Cador, Against All Odds. Roger refused to let his past dictate his future by rising to legendary college baseball status. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope. Against All Odds chronicles Coach Cador's determination to reach higher, to want more, and to dig deeper to find the courage to chase his dreams. Against All Odds. Get yours today by Cador & Cador Publishing. You are now watching Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White.
All right, everybody, we are back with more Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White, and my man, the Hall of Famer to my left. He's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Roger Cador, and we're joined with a very special guest today, former MLB baseball player as well as manager Dusty Baker. How you doing, Dusty?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. It's always great to talk to you guys, and always great to talk to my man, Roger Cador.
Man, you know, as we're having this conversation kind of off air, it's interesting because you just never know where life is going to lead you. And it was interesting hearing you guys, you looking at both y'all was going to be some car salesmen in life.
Well, you know, I worked for Ford, Walker Ford, while I was working with the Braves. You know, I was in the big leagues with the Braves, and at that time we had to either play winter ball, which the Braves wouldn't let me. They said I was too valuable, or you had to go to work, which I worked for Atlanta Life, the black insurance company, and I worked for Walker Ford down in Augusta because, man, the minimum salary there was $15,000.
Yeah.
And I was sending money home to my mama, my brothers and sisters that were in school. So back then, Roger, you know, we didn't have the luxury of just working out all winter and taking care of yourself. You know, we had to go to work. What'd you do, Roger?
Yeah, I had to come back home and work too, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Everybody had to work.
That's right.
Yeah.
You say you were selling Toyotas. Hey, he didn't want nobody to know that, Dusty.
yeah, but I told you I was selling Pintos, Granadas, I was selling Fords, you know. deal the whole week trying to close a deal and make like $25.
Let me ask you guys this because, being a leader, Coach, you were a young man, Coach Dusty Baker, you young men, and as guys got older too, being on the professional side, but the sacrifices of what you guys had to give in terms of family and coaching. Because although you had family at home, family was at work by the young men and the men that you were molding to get better. And I want to ask you guys, for anybody that's out there who think coaching is just the games, the press conferences, the travel, the wins and the losses, it's more to it than that. And Dusty, I'll start with you. Talk about the sacrifices of just coaching.
Well, number one, the sacrifices. You got to have an understanding woman and an understanding family, because you're away from home all the time. Whether you're on the road or whether you're at school, you're always dealing with. There's always a problem or something that needs your advice. And the coaches are probably, they spend more time with the young women and men than they do their parents. And I was explaining something the other day. It's like, if you spend 3 hours at home talking to your parents, or people don't eat around the dinner table anymore like we used to. If you spend probably more than 2 hours, you're lucky. And our practices are 2 hours plus every day. So you're spending more time, with the young men and women than their parents are. And it's a big responsibility. And the people that I really remember in my life were coaches. The coaches and a few ministers and some clergymen, but basically it was the coaches and teachers that helped mold me. But no, they kept me in line, and my parents helped mold me. And some of the most frightening words I ever could hear was if somebody told me that they were going to tell my daddy. Like, man, whatever you do, don't tell my daddy.
And Coach Cador, I got to ask the same to you. That sacrifice of the success, because with success comes sacrifice.
Well, yeah. I told my son when he was young, if he wanted to be an athlete, I said, let me tell you something. Forget about your summers. Forget about vacations. They're out of the window, because you're going to have to practice, make commitment to try and get better. And I said, you might want to be something else other than an athlete. And I know people will think I'm crazy for saying it, but you know how many hours you have to practice to be a good athlete? And many people don't make it. And in today's world, the amount of money the parents have to spend for those kids, and it's very difficult. I know the parents that got 2 kids trying to support them to play travel ball. Just incredible.
Yeah. And Dusty, I want to go back to what you said to Lou, what Coach talking about. You said something about outfielders and how you guys, in terms of being black outfielders, you don't see that much anymore. Talk about the game and how it has evolved to what we see, the less interest of the African-American community, even all the way up to the Major League. Because I can tell you, growing up in the 90s, the Atlanta Braves was my favorite team. So shout out to both of you guys. But I saw guys who looked like myself.
But, I don't know if there's less interest or not. But I do know that it costs a whole lot more to play baseball than any other sport right now.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is, the economics of it. Plus, when we were coming up, you had the longevity of baseball versus football and basketball. But when football and basketball start paying the way they're paying, then a lot of guys went the route of basketball or football. And Roger and myself might have gone that route ourselves, but we were about the longevity of baseball. And I was down in Alabama the other day with Papa Jack.
Yeah.
And I saw some little kids. I swear, they had a Marucci bag. that was probably $200. They had Marucci glove, that's probably a couple $100, and then they had 3 or 4 bats at
Oh,
$3
my
or
goodness.
$500 a piece.
Yeah.
And I was adding it up, and I was like, man, because I only saw 2 little black kids out there. Well, this one kid, he had about $1,500 to $2,000 worth of equipment strapped on his back.
That's right.
And that's part of the problem is that, you know, if you're a kid, you don't want to be out there with no equipment, no, you know, everybody knows you're the pole kid on the block, and
Yeah.
these other kids, I mean, there's pressure, and it costs a lot. I remember asking my wife, you know, she was calling me from Phoenix and Florida and Cooperstown and all over the country. I said, well, baby, you know, how much is this costing? And she added it up. It was like $4,000 or $5,000 a summer for one kid. Now, if you had a couple kids to travel, I mean, it would be impossible. And I was like, well, what happened to the American Legion, you know, that we used to play, or the local ball? She says, she said, you got to go out and play travel ball now to be discovered, number one, and the best, you know, the best competition is that kind of ball.
Well, I still think if you play local and you're good enough, they'll discover you.
Me too.
I mean, I'm a firm believer, and I try to tell that to parents. I said, y'all gonna go broke trying to fund travel ball, do what the Joneses are doing? I said, this is not worth it in the long run. When you look at the money they pay, that they could, just think if they invest half of that money, Dusty.
I know. I hear you, Roger, because I was talking to my nephew the other day, and his son was trying to convince me to talk his dad into buying him this sliding mitt. You know what I mean? Uncle Dusty, please tell my daddy. I was like, oh, man, don't put me in this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Dusty, because looking at Coach Cador's career and the success that he had and sending a lot of guys, develop that talent, and sending them to Major League Baseball from a low-resource institution, a HBCU here in Baton Rouge, Southern University. What is your thoughts in terms of the success that Coach Cador had during his tenure at Southern, all the way down to the College Baseball Hall of Fame, but just what he was capable of doing to send guys, develop guys, and making sure not only did they get an education, but to get them to Major League Baseball and being the coach with the success, winning championships and everything else that he was able to do?
Well, I was always proud of Roger, and you know, I followed Roger the whole time, tried to help Roger as much as I could. Was appreciative and really kind of follow Roger's lead on how active he was in the community, and to, you know, not only get black people to contribute and support the community, but also to get, you know, Coach Skip and LSU and some of the other local people. I mean, that's hard to do. And, you know, the support that he got, the fact that Roger was always, his demeanor was such, I couldn't tell when Roger was upset, mad, or I knew when he was glad, but I think we can all take a lesson, which I have, on how to stay calm and achieve your goal like Roger Cador did. Like I said, I was proud of Roger, because I knew it wasn't easy. Now, he made it probably sound like it might have been easy, but I know that it was a very difficult situation. I mean, his players are proud and are finer men because of the fact they played with Roger Cador. Whether they made it to the big leagues or not, there's a whole bunch of life, you know, a whole bunch of living that you can do outside of baseball. I'm sure Roger contributed to that.
Well, Dusty, one more thing I want to say before we let you go. Over the years, for so many years, the amount of equipment, well, you actually got me started. I had no equipment. You got me started back in 1984 when I called you and you said, hey, man, we'll be in Atlanta. You were the hitting coach with the Giants at the time. Mm-hmm. And said, meet me in Atlanta. We'll get equipment. We got so much equipment. I had to U-haul it back to Baton Rouge, you know. So thanks so much for getting me started, and all the years in between support me, kept sending stuff. My players appreciated. They knew it. And they were so happy. They said, man, Dusty took care of us. See, and they understood. You got me?
Well, that's one of the worst things that happens with us is that we don't have equipment.
Right.
I mean, even today, I talk to the local guys around here. They can't get balls. Used balls are gold.
Yes,
and,
they're gold.
Yeah, I mean, they're gold.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the balls that other people throw away are balls that we could use.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so I urge everybody, if you got any extra equipment, no matter how old or new it is, there's always somebody out there that can use it.
Well, we appreciate your time, big guy. I know you're busy.
And
I
I'll
love
see
you.
I'll see you in
I'll
Atlanta.
see you,
Roger.
and I'll see you in a couple of days in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'll see you. All
Yeah.
right, big boy.
All right.
See
Thanks
you
so
guys.
much, Dusty.
All right, Dusty, thank you, man.
All right, later.
All right, for everybody out there, that was the voice of Dusty Baker joining us today. And let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue more of the conversation here, chopping it up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White, all right?
Getting a letter from the IRS that you owe back taxes can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. Call Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040 today. We'll help stop garnishments, levies, and seizures immediately. With over 35 years of dealing directly with the IRS, our team of local professionals will help you pay the least amount possible. So if you owe back taxes to the IRS, you need help. Call the tax professionals at Go Tax Resolution in Lafayette at 337-420-1040. Your go-to tax relief.
Cats down by 58 with 1 minute left.
Hey, where's everybody going? This game's not over. So we're not the best. Our kicker stubbed his toe on the ball, and pretty sure our mascot has his costume on backwards. But this is our team. No matter what.
Have a passion? We've got the place. Gear up for where the rubber meets the mud, or stir up memories of a lifetime. Reach new heights. Gravitate towards something out of this world. Even travel back in time. You might like a little drama in your life, or get in touch with your inner nature lover. Release some pent-up energy while you're at it. There's plenty to do beyond the swing sets. Breck, we're more than a playground.
Hey, it's Jimmy I with ESPN Radio. Both Coach Roger Cador and I have gone to Dr. Dale Police for years for all of our dental needs. Dr. Police uses the latest technology in preventive dental cleaning, digital x-rays and night guards, restorative tooth-colored fillings, porcelain crowns, complete partial dentures. Zoom whitening, you can whiten teeth 10 shades in as little as an hour. Dental emergencies for infections, broken tooth, or restoration when things just go wrong. Most insurance is accepted. Dr. Dale Police and Dr. Larry Oob, available Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 926-6899, and PoliceDentistry.com.
All right, everybody, we're back more chopping it up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, I'm Perry White, and the man on to my left is the man, the myth, the legend himself, the Hall of Famer, Coach Roger Cador. Want to thank Dusty Baker for joining us today. Great dialogue between he and you, Coach, about your careers, about meeting, and then being able to give you your flowers for what you was able to accomplish at Southern. That should feel good to hear your friend who's had a lot of success to be able to tell you, hey, man, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and I'm proud of him because, I mean, we like I said, we've got so many stories over the 50 years that aren't sport related, just human interest stories, things that we were able to help other people with that we don't even talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we helping other guys with advice, a pat on the shoulder. Sometimes that is as good as gold, you got me?
Mm-hmm.
People going through difficulties and you're there for them. That's big, man. So.
I think the funniest part, finding out both you guys about to sell some cars.
You know, that's interesting. Yeah.
Was that the thing to do back then? Like if you were looking for the way it was car salesman, kind of like one of those good jobs to get started off in?
Yeah, well, it was easy for me.
Okay.
It was convenient. I lived right within walking distance to Adams Toyota off of Plank Road.
Uh-huh.
So I would walk over there and go sell the cars, And I was one of the top salesmen, by the way. It was used cars, but, it's still selling cars.
Dusty said he worked on that deal all week just to make $25.
Yeah. Yeah, it was different back then,
Yeah.
And we had a lot of appreciation for that opportunity.
Let's talk about coming up. You guys, you and Dusty, like you said, you'll be seeing each other over in Atlanta this year. It'll be the third Swingman Classic that you have helped put together. This thing started up in Seattle, Washington a couple years ago, down in Arlington last year. Now we're headed over to Atlanta. To watch it come from an idea to reality and now going into the third year for you, it's your baby, along with many others, but it's representing the guys from the realm you know best, the HBCU realm, and your dedication, even after coaching, to make sure that guys don't get forgotten about at this level, because you're a product of this level as a player as well as a coach, and making sure that these guys get seen, and not only get seen, Coach, the biggest time of baseball ever, All-Star Weekend.
All-Star Weekend. I mean, to pull that off and get the commissioner to go along with that was so cool. You heard the coup d'etat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a coup to get him. And he really went along with it big time, because there's a few pennies that were dropped in there to make it happen.
The importance of this Swingman Classic, you talked about Ken Griffey Jr., one of the spearheads of it, along with you sitting at the table, making sure these guys get a world-class experience as representative of HBCUs and going out there and getting an opportunity to showcase the talent. Talk about the experience for a lot of these guys who are going to get a chance to showcase their talent in front of everybody.
And to have a name like Junior, I keep saying Junior, but Ken Griffey Jr., everybody calls him Junior. You call him Junior?
I'm young. I call him Ken Griffey Jr.
But we got him to lend his name, to make it happen. We needed a name associated with the event.
Mm-hmm.
And his name was really good for the commissioner to say, let's go with it, let's make it move. And so it flew. And it wasn't over the cuckoo nest, but it flew. You ever heard the bird that flew over the cuckoo nest?
Mm-hmm.
You're all right.
I've heard, look, I've been around. I had some older people talk to me and tell me some stories over the years. And even with that, there's going to be stories of these young men they're going to tell for the rest of their lives in terms of the experience. Talk about the experience for these young guys.
Yeah, and the other thing we need to touch on is the Hall of Famers and a lot of big leaguers who are going to come around the event that they're going to be able to take selfies with, pictures with. A lot of them come to attend because some of them wish they had attended an HBCU. So they come to this event. And it's big, man, I'm telling you. Backstage at the Academy Award, that's what they call it, backstage.
Yep.
This is what, man, this is big when you go backstage here. I mean, you see them all. They're all there. And to put that with MLB All-Star Weekend, you got me? So they're all in town, so they come and they want to congregate. They want to talk to their friends and relive great moments or moments that were joyful. And maybe in some cases, some that were painful. You just never know. But, we'll be there. Matter of fact, I got a text from someone with another branch of MLB telling me he's looking forward to seeing me at the All-Star game. So
let me ask you, will you be an honorary coach, or will it be Team Roger versus Team Cador? I mean, how is this thing? How is this thing going to be set up this year? What are the team names?
They honor me the first 2 years. I don't think they can afford to do it again.
Man, they should do it every year.
Well,
man.
they did more than I deserve, to be honest with you. I mean, to even put me out there in the front, I'm good. I'm good. Give someone else an opportunity. I mean, I'm going to use something that Skip Berkman told me years ago. Baton Rouge was big enough for both of us. This is big enough for everybody. You got me? They don't have to do it for me. I got it. I played a role in getting it started. And I just want to be a small part, like a speck of dust on something there. I don't want to be the big cojones.
You are. I mean, when you look at HBCU baseball, when you talk about coaches and winning and championships and coach of the years, and I know you look at it and you're like, all right, well, what does that do for me now? Well, it does a lot. We can talk to Dusty Baker and many other folks, you know, but at the end of the day, you are what we consider the toast, the creme de la creme of HBCU baseball. You are one of the best baseball coaches to ever coach in this country, especially as an African American. You are a beacon of hope for anybody that's out there that looks like you and I to say it can be done. Here's a guy come from a small town, all the odds stacked against you. You found success, and then you wasn't selfish about it. You went out and you created success for many other young men in life and then put them in that. So they can never stop honoring. I think it should continue, but when you look at this man and the overall idea, I mean, even after retirement, you have not given up on HBCUs. You have not forgotten about the players on this level who don't get the opportunity to be seen as much. And so you continue to fight the good fight. And I think that within itself deserves an award, deserves an honor each and every time you step foot anywhere on the baseball field.
Well, thanks for being kind and saying such kind word, Perry. The reason it doesn't worry me, I'm supposed to do that. I really feel like what I do, I'm supposed to do it. Mm-hmm. You know, I had one of my former players call me from Portland, Oregon on Saturday and say, Coach, I hadn't talked to you in many years, but I want to just say thank you for all the help you gave me and all the players you helped. You helped so many people you don't even know. And I said, you're right. I'm not supposed to know. People don't understand that. You're not supposed to know when you're helping people. You're just supposed to help them.
Yeah.
You got me? Just help. It all work itself out. I mean, people I see every day, thanks for helping me. I don't even know I help them. You know. But before my wife passed, she told me something. She said, you are going to do so much to help people because you're going to be in places other people not going to be in, and you don't mind talking and helping people. And I think about it all the time because I've been in places that other people, they go into, but they're never going to do anything.
They don't have a seat at the table. You have a seat at the table.
Yeah, but even that, there are things I've done when I didn't have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
Just went and made people happy, made them feel good, did things for them. You know what I'm saying? I look at in Latin America, South America, Central America, with the things I was able to do there. I don't even speak the language. You know how many people would not even fret to try and do something? I can't speak the language. I know I don't speak the language, but doing it, I make it work.
And even when you talk about going into those tough neighborhoods to recruit players, you change trajectories of families' lives.
Yes.
You know, you took it from what you saw, it could have been generation after generation, and you steered guys in a different direction to get them out of that situation where their families in today's time didn't have to continue that generation.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Atlanta. Houston. You know, those are the cities.
Detroit.
Yeah. Wasn't an easy city to go into. Had to get permission to go down one street, but I wasn't afraid. Mm-hmm. It was never I was afraid because I respected the neighborhood, the territory. Mm-hmm. You know, I respected that territory because they control the territory. Long as you don't disrespect that territory, you'll be okay. Mm-hmm. I realized that they didn't recognize my car. It was a rental car. And I backed and I went to the payphone, made the call to the kid and told him where it was. He said, I'll be right there, we'll get you. Came and got me, they let me through. So even though I was a country boy, I didn't know a lot about the big cities, but I knew something about territory, like a dog or animal, they ain't gonna let you in that territory without permission. So I got in there, signed the kid, one of the best kids I signed, got drafted in the 5th round. So my point is, and helped me win 2 championships. We won 2 championships with it. But the point I'm making is, if you want to help people, there's a protected layer that usually come across that usually protect you if you're trying to help people. I'm a firm believer in that. You know, you trying to help people is something that radiates to the people who trying to not let you in, and they may say, oh, he's not that bad, he's trying to help someone. It's the way I look at it, Perry.
Let's look at this. The Mount Rushmore, right, of HBCU baseball coaches is Roger Cador, #1. No doubt about it. You can be as humble as you want. You're #1. Who would you put throughout a career, and come on now, work with me here, that you can say is a coach that is right there? And I would say #2 because you're #1. But who is a coach, if you say #2 right there, that's just had an impact on the sport?
I would say, and he's way before your time, the president at Grambling, President Jones. He's before your time, and a lot of people don't know it. They probably would say the coach I played for, Emory Hines, but I really don't think it because he won a national championship, he and Bob Lee. But it was Prez who sold the game of baseball to the black community. He went so many places, these guys didn't go. Hines wasn't going to talk to anyone. Prez talked to people. To me, that's huge, because when you talk to people, you give information, you get information. And you're able to change something, you got me? And he went all over the country doing that, driving the car, doing it. And to me, that's why when I helped him, my vote was critical to help him get in the College Hall of Fame. And I went to Lubbock, Texas to be there for the induction, because that's how much I thought about him. Because I said he's changed the way I see things, the way he was the first one. There always got to be a first one. So Ralph Jones, he got a Waldo Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson Jones, the former coach at Grambling, former president, is my main Mount, what you call that mountain?
Mount Rushmore.
Rushmore, okay.
Yeah, I got you, and then I will put him. Did you get a chance to have, I wouldn't say a relationship, but get to talk to him much, get to pick his brain? Did you get a chance to communicate at any?
I was a player, played in '73. The last year I played, he was coaching at Grambling. But I was always impressed by what that man did.
And I was going to ask, at what point did his aura of who he was, you know, sometimes as you get older, it makes sense, like, man, that was, you know, that guy right there was phenomenal. You know, you may not realize it in the moment. Did you realize in the moment? Did it take some time down the line to say?
I realized in the moment because of the players he had and the way he did things. You know, he did things different. And then I talked to some of his former players, what he did. He understood his people. He understood that he had some people that was not, or they didn't come from a situation where the etiquette was up to date. So he knew he was taking his players into foreign territory. So he brought in people who could teach them how you eat at a dinner table, how you hold your fork, what side you had your fork and your spoon and knife, and how you put the napkin on your lap. He did, man, you know, how many coaches give I ain't gonna say, give less than a damn about, you go help me win this game, worry about this stuff later. But he cared about that. That was important. And I'm sure it had a big impact on some of the players' lives, because for the first time in their life, they were learning something that they didn't know about, you know? So that's why I put so much on him, because it wasn't about winning a baseball game. It was about improving someone's life.
I take it in this day of the transfer portal, if you was around, you probably would have transferred to Grambling, huh?
Probably.
Coach, you want to hit the transfer portal on us. You know, this, hey, it is what it is because you looked up to this guy.
I really did. I really did. And because of his value system. My coach didn't have the same value system he had. It was more win the game and we'll deal with the rest later. What I saw in Coach Jones was, let's take care of the whole kid.
Yeah.
Let's prepare the whole kid. And it's not that's the way coaching was back then. Like Coach Hines was. Let's win the game. He said, he gave less than a damn about that other stuff.
And that's just some things you don't forget, is it?
I'm not going to forget that because it made me tough. He prepared me for life in a different way.
Yeah.
I would have been so far ahead under Coach Jones learning the little things, you got me? I was tough enough to make it anyway, but I would have loved to have learned the little things,
Yeah.
Because I was in situation I could have put them to use.
How did you then use that in terms of you becoming a coach?
Well, I did that. I didn't have to bring someone in to show them how to put the utensils on the table. But I took them to every nice place we could that the budget wouldn't allow us to do. I found a way to take them. You got me?
Yeah.
And those kids loved it. They loved it because I knew Coach Jones did it.
It's all about the experience.
It's about the experience, and I had some kids who never had that experience. So we did it well. That's why we stayed at 5-star hotels. I made the budget work to do it. But it worked because I had to do a lot of talking to convince people. It's worth it. Work with me on this. I got some kids who deserve this experience.
Well, I need you guys out there to work with us because we got to pay some bills, but I need you to come right on back, grab some popcorn, grab a drink, run to the bathroom. We'll be back more. Chop It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.
Smart Baton Rouge business travelers travel out of Baton Rouge because BTR is so close and convenient. They're always one step ahead, rather than dead on their feet. So, isn't it about time you flew BTR? Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Hey, it's Jimmy Ott with ESPN Radio. Both Coach Roger Cador and I have gone to Dr. Dale Police for years for all of our dental needs. Dr. Police uses the latest technology in preventive dental cleaning, digital x-rays and night guards, restorative tooth-colored fillings, porcelain crowns, complete partial dentures. Zoom whitening, you can whiten teeth 10 shades in as little as an hour. Dental emergencies for infections, broken tooth, or restoration when things just go wrong. Most insurance is accepted. Dr. Dale Police and Dr. Larry Oob, available Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 926-6899, and PoliceDentistry.com.
From a sharecropper's son to an esteemed baseball coach for Southern University, a road that was potholed with poverty, racism, and pain. These obstacles should have kept him from the top of his game. Instead, he fought back with everything he had and won. An inspiring story of tenacity, faith, and hope against all odds chronicles the life of legendary head coach Roger Cador, the 14-time SWAC champion with 11 NCAA regional appearances. He's a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, the American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He's a member of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Hall of Fame. He's a prestigious inductee into the Southern University Hall of Fame. And now, he's a distinguished member of the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Purchased today, Against All Odds. Against All Odds can be purchased on Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, and Google Play.
All right, everybody, welcome back as we continue chopping it up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White. Of course, at the bottom of the screen, Perry White. Roger Cador. I want to thank Dusty Baker coming on, joining us today, man. It was a great conversation to be able to have a talk with you and him to talk about, not only your careers of playing together doing for the Braves organization, but just the impact that you guys have made in life as coach and manager, as well as the sacrifices and the impact of the lives that you guys. And then finding out when it's time for retirement. For most people, when is it time to call it quits? And I think both you guys have called it quit, but you have yet to stop working. You're still keeping yourself busy. You'll be busy headed over to Atlanta for MLB All-Star Weekend and for the big part of that, the HBCU Swingman Classic.
I'll be leaving tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday?
Tomorrow is Thursday.
I'll be leaving in the morning. Mm-hmm. And
what is your time for the past 2 years? When you get to the event, what is it like for Coach Cador once you get there? Because I'm pretty sure it's nonstop movement.
Nonstop movement. And even though I'm not into politics, that's what they want me to do, be a politician. Shake hands, talk to people.
Are you shaking hands and kissing the babies?
Whenever I can. But, but more is shaking hands and welcoming people, talking to them. That's really what they like for me to do. And because I got a part of history they can't go read about. It's oral, you got me? And I'm talking about historical black schools. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that they want me to do is talk to some people who are there and just share the moments with them.
I need you to talk to people too. I need you to let them know we got this show over in Baton Rouge, Chopping It Up with Roger Cador and Perry White. You got to let them know so we can get more guests on this thing.
We got to need more people. If we were talking something foolish, we would be loaded with guests, I guess. You're talking immoral stuff. Or people would listen. Why would people waste their mind listening to something that's immoral as what people put on there, and they're blowing up? More listen to something we have which is upbuilding and can help you in your life, but they won't run to it. They're going to run to the immoral stuff. That lets you know what's going on in the world today.
I heard something earlier today before we get ready to get out of here. People like to be lied to.
Oh, no, they want to be lied to.
Yeah.
Just like they're doing parents with this baseball. They want to be lied to. They want you to lie to them about their son or daughter. And I'm always caught with saying, this ain't true.
Well, what we're not going to do is lie to you guys because we got to get ready to get out of here. But you tune in, MLB All-Star Weekend, the HBCU Swingman Classic. Anybody watching, if you in Atlanta, you see Coach Cador, you give him a big hug and a kiss on that forehead, and you let him know you love him, to put that smile on his face. Want to thank you guys for tuning in. And be sure to catch us and see us every time we come on Pelican Sports TV. Don't forget about us. We'll see you next time or more. Chopping It Up with Coach Roger Cador and Perry White.